This, even aside from the queer significance, is one of Bowie's best songs, at least in my opinion. In the chorus, Bowie sings the lyrics, "There's a starman waiting in the sky. He's told us not to blow it, 'cause he knows it's all worthwhile. He told me, let the children lose it, let the children use it, let all the children boogie." Here, Bowie is singing out a message of hope to the entire queer community, but especially for the younger part of the community. The Starman is ensuring a better future, that'll all be worthwhile. The children, aka younger queer folks, will have a better future, where they can lose it, use it, and most importantly, they can boogie, unconcerned about the consequences of the oppressive world they have been living in for too long. Bowie touches on the sense of queer futurity that he likely was not able to experience until this part of his life. Even in the sheer vocal choices of Starman, there is an ode to queerness. Bowie jumps a whole octave in the first line of the chorus. There's a Starman, popularly deemed as a parallel to the first line of the queer-claimed Somewhere Over the Rainbow, from The Wizard of Oz, in which Judy Garland does the same octave jump in the exact same rhythm. While this is a more subtle example, the queer cultural attachment to The Wizard of Oz and David Bowie's nod to it is a sign of his place within the community, as well as his push to bring his queerness to the forefront of his music. Throughout his career, David Bowie consistently resisted labels and pressures put onto him. At different points in his life, he came out as gay, as bisexual, and as a closeted heterosexual. He was gay, he was straight, he was bisexual, he was a man, he was a woman. He was a glamorous alien named Ziggy Stardust. He was all of these things, and he was everything in between. David Bowie's career followed an incredible path, but so much of that is rooted in his glam rock queer alien era. In a world not historically kind to queer people, especially those who want to shine, David Bowie created his own world. Moving right along, we arrive at Grace Jones. Born in Jamaica in 1948, Grace Jones is a star. Moving seamlessly from the runway to the stage and to the screen, she found herself a career of her own. At 13, she made her way to the United States, settling with her family in the Syracuse, New York area. Eventually, she found herself moving between Paris and New York City amidst a flourishing modeling career. It was upon her return to the States that Jones decided to try her hand at music. Her music was part of the major disco scene in New York City queer communities, combining elements of reggae, art pop, dance pop, funk, and post-punk. Between her modeling career, her acting career, and her music career, Grace Jones embodied a level of androgyny that inspired and influenced the masses, and her music provided a safe place for all who entered the clubs it was played in. Grace Jones herself does not identify as queer. She does not claim any identity other than straight and was married to a man for 8 years. Instead, she toys with androgyny, what gender looks like and what gender sounds like. Her style has been described as neo-cubist, complete with clean lines, square-cut angles, and a tall, slender, 6-foot-tall figure to don it all. Jones approached her musical style and her physical style in the same regard. She saw her androgyny as a way to push masculinity from the outside. In the electronic, almost space-like world of disco, Jones fit right in as an out-of-this-world character. She was glamorous, luxurious, and elegant. In addition to her own personal work, Grace Jones was part of a community. As previously mentioned, Grace Jones has not defined herself as queer. However, she was a major player in the queer community in the 1970s and 1980s. Disco and the clubs dedicated to it were primarily occupied by queer people, specifically Black and Latinx gay men. It was a community Grace Jones found an audience in. Pitchfork writer Barry Walters discusses the significance of Grace Jones and these clubs in his 2015 piece, As Much as I Can, As Black as I Am, The Queer History of Grace Jones. In detailing a 1977 performance at 12 West, a New York City members-only gay disco, Walter says, "That night, Grace Jones sang 'I Need a Man,' just like a man might. Tough and lusty, she was a woman who was not just singing to them, but also for them. As them. She was as queer as a relatively straight person could get. Her image celebrated blackness and subverted gender norms." It was this song, "I Need a Man," that especially made her a hit in the queer community. Being able to sing that out loud in these disco clubs, less than 10 years after Stonewall, was something powerful for all involved. Her voice, like her appearance, found itself in an androgynous space. Though initially uncomfortable with her voice, as she felt it sounded manly, as if it were coming from a different person altogether, she eventually found it to be a tool of her style. Much of the music she created was not her own, rather covers. In a testament to her devotion to androgyny, she had a preference for covering songs by men. She takes the male perspective and puts her own spin and perspective on it. The first single released on her 1981 album, Nightclubbing, was a cover of Australian new wave group Flash in the Pan's Walking in the Rain. Coming up for you next.